This Byron Lazine podcast, I get to sit down with DJ and Lindsey. If you've ever driven through Jacksonville, you see them everywhere. They are the sponsors of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the only real estate sponsorship for the Jags. They're everywhere in their market. They're omnipresent. They know it inside and out. And because of that, they're attracting hundreds of agents to come work with them in their real teamage. They are an independent brokerage that has a team. So if you want to figure out how to scale your business and just dominate your local market, this podcast is definitely for you. At the end of the podcast, check out the link below for Sisu. If you want to automate your business, not feel like the business is taking over and there's all these logins and you don't know where to transact your business online because you're doing it in a million different places, you're going to want to look at Sisu. On average, teams increase their business by over 100% annual volume when they get on Sisu. Single agents, it's over 25%. Stop cobbling everything together on a million different platforms and look at Sisu's automation to transact your business online. Check out the link below. Check out Sisu. All right, sitting here with DJ and Lindsey team, but it's really a brokerage. It's a teamage.
It's a teamage.
One of the first teamrages in the nation that has dominated to the level that you guys are dominating. If you are anywhere, I don't think I ever told you guys this, but I had to take a car from, it was Connecticut to Florida or back in one of the trips. Yeah, like I literally drove this car. Yeah, and so the reason I did it is because we had like all this particular stuff that we weren't leaving in the Connecticut house and whatever. Anyways, so as I'm cutting through Jacksonville, St. Augustine, I just see you guys absolutely everywhere. You guys are dominating that market. The Jaguar sponsor, all the different things that you guys do. So tell us about the growth a little bit of the teamage.
So we really started as an independent in 2013, and then we really made the jump to the team model in 2015. And Lindsey is, like, I always say this, like one of the baddest operators, like baddest meaning like badass. So
like a good bad.
Good. Like, just, very thorough, stable, make sure everything was put together properly. And then year over year, we just were able to double growth. I think we did 62 transactions to 140 to 260, 260 to 480, and then to 850. And then last year we did 3,025 houses for over $1 billion.
Closed units.
Yeah, the Billy Club. Not
the Billy.
How many teams are in the $1 billion club nationwide?
I think there's like 5. I'm pretty sure, somewhere in that range. I don't think many more.
It's not
on the team side,
yeah,
right?
On the team side.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because you guys are still really everybody. Well, not everybody. You guys have how many in the brokerage?
125. On the brokerage
just on
side.
the brokerage side, I think there's like 50 agents.
Yeah.
But your team did the $1 billion.
The team, that's 0 brokerage agents.
Right.
And
brokerage
we just
started January
1, and they still haven't really done much. I mean, it's a hard market. I mean, they just started now, getting some deal flow from them.
There's roughly, and we're just kind of throwing this out there, maybe 5, maybe a half a dozen teams that have done over $1 billion in an annual year.
Closed too. I think a lot of people talk about closed and pending. Yeah.
No. Closed. That's what we're talking about. You guys have done that. How many do you think in 2 years? A lot of people have that goal, right?
Sure.
In the next 2, 3, 4 years, how many more do you think will be joining the club?
What do you think?
Gosh, I don't know.
I think it's actually getting harder, to be honest.
It might be harder.
It'll get harder?
Well, I mean, with inventory being this tight,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're not really expecting more homes to sell because there's just not more homes available. So, unless they're taking some serious market share, which was kind of our strategy.
Exactly. I think more teams will do it, and here's why. Because you ever see that clip or like that guy was like trying to beat that mile under 4 minutes or whatever? And like,
so we kind of broke that ceiling for people to say, whoa, it's possible I can do this.
100%. Mm-hmm. You guys have done it. Now it's given the blueprint, and like in the ecosystem that we're in with Tom Ferry and all this stuff, so many people learn from each other, and it's like, whoa, I can do that too. And I think you'll see some other people now break through.
And I think that's what we try to share with people, that, I mean, we're nothing special, right? I mean, we're just normal people that, just kind of had this plan
tenacity
and, these plays, and we ran plays that worked, and we kept doing it. And so anyone can really do it.
But I would tend to agree with you, Byron. I do think there will be more. And the reason why, and I think we talked about this when we were just at the that last retreat we were at, I think the word accountability is going to keep leveling up, and where, if the failing industry of real estate agents when the 87 percentile range it's broken, right? So now when you have, teams like ours that hold standards and accountability, which is ultimately for the customer anyways.
Yes.
Now now brokerages, teams, they're all seeing that, and they're like, wow, this is what we need to do to service the customer at the level we need to. So now I think in the next year, 2 years, we're going to see accountability like as a trending word, and not
Like
so much
accountability is cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, Gary V's made it cool. He talks about it. But other than that, not too many people in the real estate industry, of course, are using that word, because a lot of agents get into real estate
for flexibility, to not have a boss, to be an entrepreneur, to build their own brand.
They didn't want the accountability at the last job, so they're getting into this one to make their own schedule, and we know that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work because the consumer doesn't want that.
Yeah.
They want, on the ball right now, a full service team, kind of segmenting out all the different aspects of a real estate transaction. I mean, the consumer wants it to be like everyone is in their place doing their highest and best use.
Your agents are ridiculously accountable. There's no way an agent on your team could have a part-time job because
there's no time. They're so busy. But they're in the office because, there's things to do, right? They are following up with customers. They are setting appointments. They're like organizing their day. There's no time to do anything else because they have an abundance of opportunities.
And they have a schedule of
when
and how to do it.
Just a playbook. Just a real...
It's the only way we could guarantee their success. We know, run this play and you'll be successful.
What percentage of people in America would you say are true entrepreneurs? Like less than 1%, right? And
less
then
than 1%.
We have all of this crazy influx of people getting in because I was hanging out with Troy yesterday and we were kind of talking, and he's been at Boomtown for I think 8 years now, and he was like, it's just, man, I love being I'm like the offensive coordinator. I like to make things happen, and I think a lot of people think this, this glamorization of being an entrepreneur, a real estate owner, and all this stuff, when really it's such a, with all of our team, everybody's bringing such a big aspect that it's not just Lindsey and I. It's like, it's all of our leadership. It's all of the administrative staff. So it's like none of this can happen as one person doing all of those things. So
I think everybody should strive to, how do I make investments? How do I become an investor, whatever that means for me, in real estate or in the stock market? Like, how do I take the money I have, the extra money, and invest it?
That was kind of something, we're really going to talk about with our team about that. When you join a high-powered team that guarantees your success, that guarantees, you are going to make this certain amount of income. You're not going to have any debt, no expenses. It costs you nothing to join my team. It's like, I want to encourage people in our brokerage and on our team, like, use us as this launching pad to do something else, right? The end goal shouldn't be, as an agent, every year I need to double my business. And if I sold 30 homes, then next year I should sell 60 and then 120. Like, no, like, sell the 30 homes, sell 50 homes, sell 60 homes a year. Do that for 3 years in a row. And you've got like a serious pot of cash that you can invest. Go buy that triplex, that quadplex, like partner with people and buy a whole, community.
An investor and an entrepreneur are two different things.
Right.
Like going back to
I think being an investor is way cooler.
It's way cooler. I agree with you. Because you can lose a lot of money being an entrepreneur. I did my first venture when I was 19. I tried to be a investor before I knew what the hell I was doing. Lost a shit ton of money. And I didn't have the skills or the knowledge. And so if you look at how many businesses fail each year, it is a lot, right?
We've swung the bat and missed, several times in different ventures. It's not to say
talk about that, because I think people look at you guys, DJ and Lindsey, and it's like, man, these guys can't miss. Like, the sponsor of the Jags, so they're doing all this stuff.
Yeah, right? It goes back to, I think it was like 2012, 2013, 2014. Lindsey came up with this idea. We created a vodka company. But
I didn't want it to be like regular vodka. It had to be cool vodka.
Yeah.
And so it was glitter vodka. And it was really cool. It's called Luster. And I just thought, hey, we're good at real estate and we're good at building teams. Like, let's see if we be good at.
We like drinking, but then I was like, wait, I don't really like vodka. This kind of sucks. I have so much vodka.
Really, vodka isn't even cool. Like, gin's way cooler now. But
yeah, so we did that, and I was like, and then at the same time, our business and everything else is accelerating. So like blinders on. It's like, all right, what do I have to make a decision here, because you can't like anything, but especially the liquor industry, if you're not all in, like doing everything and anything, it's every business. If you're not all in and focused on it,
building relationships in the liquor industry.
It was like I had to choose real estate or this pipe dream of vodka, and I'm really glad I did.
It was beautiful.
All right, so how about in real estate? Where have you missed?
Expansion's been really, just honestly, it's tough to expand and try to without, we've tried to do different markets. We're, in South Florida, and just honestly, it's definitely different because we're not there. Right. And we are the driver, or me specifically, the driver, and kind of the camaraderie of the office, and our leaders do a fantastic job in all of these places. But it was a 3-hour jump from where we currently are. And it was definitely a learning curve. And I think that's why we see a lot of teams and brokerages trying to expand and replicate themselves. But, I found it's hard to implant your DNA of being there and seeing it and walking around. So St. Augustine and Jacksonville, I can do that because, it's been 7 years of being with Brittany and Brett, and they understand who we are and what that is.
Like, and this is how we do it.
But to transfer outside of the organization, we've definitely struggled with in any type of leadership position.
And I think like some people, the idea of expansion sounds sexy and cool.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think absolutely dominating your market, way cooler. It's way easier. Once like kind of all of those things, right? The billboards and the radio and the TV and the social ads and Google and all of those things, year over year, that really starts compounding, right? And you're really seeing a return on all of those things. And so it's so much easier to build on that domination and just take all the market share.
We did $1 billion last year, and we only had 3% market share. And
that's what I was just going to ask.
So there's 97% more.
Yeah.
And we know we're going to be able to take a lot.
And what's a realistic number? Obviously, 100% is not realistic. Somebody's got a brother, cousin,
man.
Stuff.
I think I think 10% is realistic, and I know that's crazy, and it sounds crazy in my head when I'm saying it, but I think in 5 years,
but like $3.5 billion.
One out of 10 deals, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, or TJ Lindsey team.
And I think that's definitely, if we continue to provide the value that we are to the customer base and our agents, then I definitely see that in the future.
Where has the big play doing the sponsorship with the Jacksonville Jaguars worked for you, and where has it not worked?
So I think aligning with a global brand like the NFL, it's massive. They own a day of the week on Sundays, and now Thursdays, and now they're probably going to own Monday too.
They own the whole week.
Yeah,
right.
During the fall.
So it's crazy, and so being able to align with that, and last year we got in kind of late, like after free agency, and we got in right before the draft. So it's been cool to see. We've sold several coaches houses. We're working with some players now, but that's like bigger pictures. Just be the alignment in the community, because they are good fans. We have really good fans in Jacksonville, and it's been
we have the best fans.
Yeah,
it's been a hard
lose
road.
A lot.
It's
and
been
we
a hard road.
There.
And last year with the coaching situation with Urban Meyer wasn't terrific.
When everything happened with Urban Meyer, did you regret the sponsorship?
So as a football fan, it definitely, I was like, oh my God, this is really awful. But then looking at it from the lens out of my wife, it's like, wow, this is really ugly and not good and
just a really bad look. And that was really shortly after we signed this contract with them, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
How many sponsors went to the Jaguars and said, I want out because of what's happening with Urban Meyer?
I think they said they didn't have as much as they would think, so I don't think it was more towards the end of the year, I guess, where when the question of what's going to happen in the future. And I think with the offseason, what they did with hiring Coach Peterson, he's a winner. He's got the winning pedigree that he was able to do in Philadelphia. So I'm pretty bullish. I say this every year. I'm very bullish on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we'll see.
They got the quarterback. Now they got the coach, Super Bowl coach, like you said.
Yeah.
Did he buy a house yet in Jacksonville or St. Augustine or wherever?
I don't know. So Doug, if you're out there,
come on. How is he not?
I know.
Hit you up yet?
I know. What's going on?
He's probably got a whole new coaching staff. There's a whole bunch of deals out there.
Well,
right?
That's the good thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars. You do get a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Well, and you have 2,000.
You're creating a lot of inventory.
Yeah. Well, you have 2,000 employees or something that between the stadium.
It's a huge organization locally.
So and my understanding is as year 2 and year 3, it kind of starts compounding. We were very new, and they've been really great to work with. So I'm excited to see what the future has.
What's that deal look like? A 4-year deal or
we did a 3-year deal.
3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 more years, and
this will be our second.
You'll see how it goes, or you think that's?
I think I think if we can continue to, if they can continue to build, I'm a winner. I like to win, so I want to align with winners. So I think if they keep taking what they need to do to win. It's hard.
It's looking good though.
It makes it more, as an organization, we throw big tailgates, or agents and employees. We get to really make it a great event for the 8 games that we get to do there. So it's really good for the culture as well.
What else is happening in the Jacksonville market?
I mean, it's blowing up. I mean, we have a lot of investors pouring in, a lot of New York, stock exchange and
really?
Hedge fund money pouring
New York
in.
Hedge fund money, where they're relocating the business.
Yes. South Florida especially. I think Goldman Sachs, they took over like 1 million feet in West Palm Beach. I mean, there's just a lot of, so that's bringing in obviously a lot of, some of their talent down there. So you're getting a lot of these, buyers, and then you have the hedge funds on top of that. I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes piece, but Tricon and different institutions out there buying a lot of property. I think almost 30% of the transactions right now.
Just in your market, Jacksonville.
Yeah, in Jacksonville is institutional money right now.
And they're not sellers, so they're constricting your inventory quite a bit.
Yes.
They're renting those homes out. There is some building going on, quite a bit of building we talked about before we started the pod. So what are you guys doing to try to get the inventory to your clients?
So we, all the marketing that we do with what you said about seeing us everywhere. So with that, the presence everywhere. So my goal is, if you're even thinking about selling,
and there's always going to be sellers. There's going to be things that happen in people's lives that they have to sell.
Because a lot of it too, in Florida, I'd say probably 35% also is second home ownership too. So things happen with that. People change. They change where they want to vacation, what they want to do with their life. So we'll always have that kind of cyclical turnover on those properties. New construction's been really good. A lot of Florida is undeveloped. I know you've driven around and seen it. I mean, there's tons of room for opportunity of growth.
But especially in North Florida. I mean, that's people don't realize, especially if you're moving from, the Northeast, and you are used to those really, really cold winters, or at least, a few nice seasons. South Florida doesn't have that. I mean, it's warm down there all year round.
Tropical. That's why I like it.
Right? It's tropical, right? It's humid. It's moist. I mean, it's hot. Yeah. But, in North Florida, I mean, we do have 4 seasons. I mean, we do get a fall, and we do get a winter.
I'm from the Northeast. You guys got
we don't really get a winter.
But I mean, on Christmas Day, I mean, it could be 35 degrees.
Yeah, it gets colder in the north. Yeah.
It does. We don't get any snow, but it does get cold, and so
there is a lot of undeveloped land still in Florida, and I remember now why I took that trip, why I drove. It's because of the Pappy Van Winkle.
Oh,
because
really?
I was transporting the Pappy Van Winkle.
I know. Phil trying to shake a bottle out of this guy.
I had it all wrapped up, and when you got
I don't trust movers with that.
And I had to get some down to my home in Naples, Florida. I was like, I'm just gonna do this with the drive with the rest of the stuff we need and transport this car. But yeah, you go through the state. There's a whole bunch of land. Obviously, my little corner, Southwest Florida, they're pushing East Naples, and they're building out there, which is crazy, because I'm like, everything I want to be close to, that's an hour away, with what I consider all the spots in town. But they're building towns out there, basically. They're putting everything
they're putting it
out there.
They're putting Costco's out west now, and it's going to be like a self-sustained area.
So Florida's, I think, 26 million
I think
residents, somewhere in that. What's too many in Florida? Is 40 million realistic for population? That's California. What's realistic in Florida long term?
40 can't happen.
Yeah, I just don't think we have the density. I think there's a lot of old, especially in I
think 30 can happen.
I think 30 can happen, 30, 32, 33-ish. There's a lot of restrictive, guidelines and building height restrictions in a lot of places in Florida that are still trying to keep the old Florida vibe going. Miami, essentially, a lot of things are going towards Brickell, and they're trying to build up that. So you have a lot of high rises going down there. So, you look at some of these densely populated places that California does have. I just don't know if we have that kind of bandwidth in Florida.
There's
Florida's a very popular destination to move to right now. What would be one thing that would hurt Florida's population growth?
I think everyone's moving here for the favorable tax, advantages that we do have. And
no state income tax,
not in a political debate or anything, but it's just, that's the reason why.
It's a number.
Texas, if you look at all the growing states, it's follow the money.
I agree. That would be the most harmful, for inbound migration for Florida to do is say, hey, let's put a state income tax. The only other thing would be like a major storm, but that would be localized to whatever that area is.
We've been there, done that, and we're so quick to recover now. And it's, we went through, 20. The reason why we opened up Jacksonville is we had like almost 6 feet of water in our office in St. Augustine. And at that time, I believe
was that?
2015, it was Hurricane Matthew.
Okay.
And at that time, I was very young in the team. We had just brought on some.
That was just our office. Think about everything
everyone
we had
else.
under contract. Listings.
Everything.
Everyone was
and the
underwater.
snap of a finger, it was gone. And I was like, all right, I know as an entrepreneur, and this is kind of what they don't understand as a team leader, broker, owner, entrepreneur. I was like, well, I have like 17 or 18 people that are depending on me, and their families are depending on me to figure it out. So I took a step back and I was like, look, looked at Jacksonville. I was like, all right, it's 45 minutes up the road. I can, distribute some of our lead spend and ad spend there, and I think we'll be okay. And we did. We got a temporary Regis office, and we worked out of there, and we just drove up there every day, followed the same path that we did, and
ran the same place. Just in
the next thing you know, we're operating. And then Brittany, has been with us since day one. She's like,
I'll buy a house here. I'll move here. We're like, perfect.
She's like, perfect.
So St. Augustine, what do they say? It's the oldest town in America.
1565, founded.
1565.
Ponce de Leon, and the.
So it's a very historic Spanish town. Like the downtown's really cool. But we have beautiful beaches and
white sandy beaches,
white powder.
And,
So that never goes away. So did it take a while to bounce back from that storm, or
really?
Not really. It took like several months. It was the first time. Then Irma hit the 2 years later, and it was like again. It was
many houses that didn't flood in Matthew.
Yeah,
flooded in
deja
Irma.
vu
So different people
all over again, and so that was a way quicker. We've been there, done that. FEMA's response was really good. We knew how to, everyone knew how to, rip out their stuff, because a lot of those homes in St. Augustine and the downtown area, they're built, 1565, but if over the bridge, we have an area called Davis Shores that, the railroad was coming through there. So this is where a lot of the people that worked on the railroad, live. So a lot of those like 1940s, 50s houses were built on a very low, floodplain. So they
a lot of people building up right now.
Yeah. Some of them had to be tore down now once they flood twice.
I saw a combination of homes getting torn down, and then there was even some homes that they were actually lifting, like jacking the house up. So that was cool to see.
When I started sales in Connecticut on the shoreline, literally my first month into the business, Superstorm Sandy hits.
Oof.
And we had actually, the guy I was working with, we had a property under contract for like 1.8 on the water. And I remember the day after the storm, like we're in the car going to the property to check it out, and like we've got a chainsaw with us to cut down like trees and falling down, like just to make it through and try to get to the location. But I remember there, it was like with everything with flood insurance and everything, it was a little bit of a pause to that, because that area hadn't really dealt with a big storm like that in a long, long time. It was the same for us.
We were like, whoa.
Yeah.
No one's ever flooded before.
Yeah. It was, there was a pause on waterfront, but it was also 2012, Connecticut was at its absolute bottom. So that on top of like being at the bottom of the market anyways, for the shoreline were two big issues.
If you look at like California though, they have earthquakes, which I think is a lot scary.
And fires.
Yeah. And so
at least with the hurricane, it's coming. So I just pop up.
And then the Midwest, you have the tornadodes. Did you see in Georgia you said your flight was delayed because of that. Like
homes were decimated.
Just like that, and it's some scary stuff. So I think anywhere you live, you're going to have a risk factor of some Mother Nature, and I think just the Florida landscape, the pros just so outweigh the cons. And Florida boy, born and raised. So
born and raised. You don't meet too many of those. Yeah. Are you born and raised though?
Yes.
Yeah, both you guys. Mm-hmm. Very cool. In that St. Augustine area?
I grew up in Jupiter, so that was why we opened up the South Florida office. So I moved to St. Augustine in 02, 03.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's very, I mean, definitely in Naples, it's super rare. Miami is probably really rare, right? Where you meet people that are
born and raised in Miami. Like,
yeah. My kids are basically not born there, but they're going to be, raised.
Florida raised.
They're going to be like,
it's all they're going to know.
It's going to be great.
They're going to love
Northeast kids. That's for sure. Yeah. I love it. I mean, one thing about Florida that people, there's a lot of misconceptions about Florida, right?
Right.
Education being a huge misconception. The healthcare is actually way better than I would say a lot of areas in the Northeast, and people like are blown away by that.
Yeah.
Where the healthcare system, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Everything with insurance, they've got it all figured out. A lot of the organization around tech on like something like healthcare is well ahead of other states, which makes it easier to increase the population, bring more people in. So, yeah, I'm very bullish on Florida's future as well.
And we've gotten a lot of talent too, from the Northeast. We have several, of our agents that are come from up there, and it's
really
plugged right in. Had a
They're
lot of
very
success.
successful in Florida.
Yeah. What's it take to be a successful brand new agent right now? Because you guys have produced so many.
We following the playbook, a lot of people get in and they kid themselves about like how hard it actually is. And I think I just watched your quick Instagram about plan on having your phone in your hand 24/7. I mean, they just don't.
If you don't like screen time, don't get into real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it's no joke. And I mean, that's why I tell my agents, I'm like, look, like no matter what, if even at the top level, I mean, my phone is glued to my hand, even though, I'm not in production anymore, but it's no different. I mean, whatever you choose to do if you're in the customer service business, that at any second, any time, somebody could reach out and want to do something, some sort of business with you, you better be there, because if not, they're going to move on to the
And
next
sometimes
person.
I think there is that misconception that accountability, like you had talked about, it's not really coming from us. I mean, it's the customer, right? You have to be available for them. But I think that is kind of part of the
their
power.
money, not yours.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of like that power of the team that, when you are, an agent on a high-powered team, that you are actually able to have this work-life balance because you can pass things off to an excellent agent that works with you, right? Rather than feeling like you're always on, it's all you have no one to rely on, or you can't pass things off. Like when it's on a team, like you can really say, hey, I need to take a day.
It's better for the client.
Like,
for the
do
client.
you know how many times I've heard, oh man, DJ and Lindsey, you have to make all of these calls at that organization. I'm like, well, no, you told the customer you're going to call them back in 2 weeks. Like, you actually have to do what you said.
You should call them. You talked to 75 customers last week, and you told all of them you'd call them the next week.
Like, you'll follow up to see how your home search is going, or what does this check the box? Like, no, it ain't me. It's like,
like,
I
don't care. I don't need you calling.
Yeah, just don't.
They do.
Yeah, somebody, and that's the thing.
And
I don't mean to sound like that, but if not even within my organization, if you don't, somebody else will.
You guys do an outstanding job of simplifying everything.
Yes.
When I was like, okay, we're going to take the Connecticut team, we're going to freaking scale it. I called DJ. Hey, can we get on a call? Yeah, no problem, right? He's going to call him like, hey, what's the freaking silver bullet to recruiting agents into an organization? Byron, treat it like listings. That's what DJ's response.
Like,
have you ever had listings? Were you ever in production? Yeah. And why don't you just treat it like that?
Right. Your people become leads.
Yeah, why don't you just generate leads?
Follow up the same. Provide
Obviously,
value.
have a standard of what your culture is going to be.
Of course.
Follow up with the people that match that, and then have a value proposition for them, right?
Right.
And
so exactly how you would treat a seller, right? I need to find a motivated seller. I can't just find someone that has a house. They have to need to sell the house, right? So, it's...
And it's a humanization factor. Like, you have to like them, they have to like you, and we have to provide value. Same thing with the seller. The seller has to like you. Yeah. Seller has to know you're going to provide value, and you're going to have to be there for them all of the time. I mean, it's no different.
But it's everything. It's like you're going back to the seller. It's like everything you guys do. It's like, how can I keep this simple so I can have that narrow focus? Yeah, I love that.
Everyone's always looking for the silver bullet or shiny objects, and when it boils down, we just look at it as like, you just have to do the activities, do the work. Yeah,
there's no technology, right? That's just going to be like, hey, Byron, just sign up for recruit.com and
we'll have 10 of them
here it
ready for
is,
you
like
tomorrow.
Use my affiliate code, and you'll be like,
I get asked all the time, like, hey, Indeed, can you just post on? Yeah, sure. You might get a few. I don't know.
You're like, that's not the silver bullet.
Do you want to wait for Are you going to attack it, or are you just going to hope? That's not scalable.
There's no
you can't control.
inventory.
Let's
Right.
do things you can control.
Can't control people reaching out to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's
You know,
nothing
you
for
can do your
sale in a
best
neighborhood,
job.
you need to go out there, right? And whatever
do
you
it.
need to do, mail them, call them, door knock them, like find the deals, find the people.
Yeah. Just simplifying it. I mean, just the simple fact that you guys are everywhere. If we can get the most eyeballs on us,
That's it.
we're going to be one of the first people in the $1 billion club,
Yeah.
which you guys have done. So what's next for you two? Just like on a personal level, like
Personal-
is it investing? What's the next?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some, some different, we own, I think 7 Airbnbs right now. Looking to add to that portfolio. Lindsey loves, she's decorating them, and she's loving that design aspect with
One
Liz.
of them just went live, and we actually got our first booking.
Yeah.
Well, we're gone.
So we're trying
We're staying in it right now.
we're trying to make them like really on the high, like a luxury style Airbnb. So I kind of like that.
It's more of like an experience rather
Yes.
than just booking a room, right?
What are you giving like special?
There's just
like
a lot of funky wallpaper
Yeah.
and custom neon signs
that's
and
cool.
just cool
Yeah.
light fixtures and
Yeah.
furnishings.
super
just
swanky.
kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What,
Then-
what's the hardest part about the Airbnb?
Honestly, the hardest part is probably furnishing it, right?
Okay.
Just
Not the management.
no, the management's easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's the this supply chain thing.
Yeah.
If you need a couch, it's 8 weeks out. It's 16
Sure.
weeks out. So
Yeah. So
that's
getting
kind
one-
of
getting one
actually
started. Once
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
started, you have a
And
system.
we use an agent. We use my friend Nick Corrali is he owns a proper group, and so we use him. I don't try to recreate. I stay in our lane of sales, and we don't mess with rentals. So they do a fantastic job, and they have all the cleaners they need. So I was just like, hey, we talked about time and what our time value is, and I feel like it's an investment, and my end goal isn't for the income of the Airbnb. It's great.
Yeah.
But I'm buying the asset for the long term and the hold
wanna
of the
hold it.
real estate. So
Depreciation doesn't hurt either.
yeah,
Right?
No.
it's nice.
But
But
what else are you thinking about?
Our
What
son,
else is coming
Noah's
up?
16, so he's going to be 17 this year, and so it's been cool to see him kind of blossoming into a young man. So I'm excited to see his kind of, he's really eager to get into the real estate business.
Wow.
So that'll be cool the next few years. So I'm going to try to
maybe buy a hotel.
she wants to buy a hotel and get in the
Wow.
hotel biz. So
It
That
just
would be
seems
fun.
easier,
Like
right?
a
Rather
boutique-
than
like a
having
boutique hotel?
Yes, so
Yeah.
something small, like maybe something like 20 rooms. But
Yeah.
that sounds a lot easier than having, these 7 properties you have right now. Like, why don't I just have them all on one property, right?
Yeah.
It's way easier to manage and clean.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I would love that.
Then we got to do a retreat there
Yes.
at the DJ and Lindsey Hotel.
I would love that.
it'll be fun.
All right, guys.
We still have some leftover vodka we can drink
Yeah.
there too.
Oh, it'll be the whole bar is gonna have all the what is
All
it? Luster?
glitter.
Yeah,
Luster.
Luster.
How many bottles do you have?
Probably like 30 cases still. I just don't drink vodka. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a
It's
tequila
beautiful.
guy. She's a gin girl, so
Yeah, I'm big on the tequila too,
Yeah.
but I like the bourbon. So I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
DJ's trying to pull a bottle of Pappy out of me. So I don't
Bourbon's
know.
cool in the fall and in the winter.
yeah,
Yeah.
Warms your
I'll
soul.
have to come up to Jacksonville.
yeah.
In
We
the
gotta play
winter,
some.
since you guys
No,
have such a winter season.
We
come
do.
this spring. Let's play some golf. Well,
No, we gotta play.
yeah, yes,
We gotta play. So, all right, guys. Really appreciate you coming on.
yeah. Thanks for having us, and thanks for everything you do.
Check these guys out. By the way, if you're not following them on Instagram, I love what you guys are doing with all your content right now. It's hitting really well. Like you guys got the cool mics, the cool setup. Check out their content. What is it? DJ and Lindsey
DJ and
That's it.
Lindsay. That's it.
on IG. Check
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
Cool.